Great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at doorsplusllc.com. Doors Plus, garage doors and more.
Load up on meat and more this winter at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This week's special through December 17th is 15% off all wine and spirits and 25% off on thermometers. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
Come enjoy a show of the Midwest's best MMA fighters on Saturday, December 7th with Violence Fight League 2 at the Complex, the former location of Champions Fun Center. Fights are scheduled throughout the night, and if you haven't been before, now is the perfect time to go, with Nebraska football in between the regular season and a bowl game. Doors open at 6 p.m. with the first bout at 7 p.m. Learn more about the fighters and buy tickets at thecomplexlincoln.com.
You're listening to 93.7 The Ticket's coverage of early National Signing Day, sponsored by Members Own Credit Union on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America, on air and online at theticketfm.com. Presented by NIPCO. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Welcome in on a hump day. It's a Wednesday edition of On the Block. I'm Austin Orman. My partner, as always, the Husker Hall of Famer, the 9-year NBA vet, the man, the myth, the legend, Strick. How you doing, Stricky?
Look what I found.
What'd you find?
In the closet.
That's pretty nice.
What do you think this is?
Is that looks like, is that your warm-up from back in the day?
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, I found an old school one.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was this doggone big. Golly.
You slimmed down since your playing days, Stricky.
I mean, I guess. That's crazy. Yeah, I said, you know what? I'm gonna pull this out, man.
Okay.
Just wanted to represent. There's a lot of Nebraska football, basketball, volleyball, a lot of news out there right now for Nebraska. And I said, let me feel the vibe. Let me see if I can channel my inner Nebraska Cornhusker energy for the day to hang out with the blockheads.
Blockheads, hang out with us all day. Next 2 hours, 402-464-5685. We're taking your thoughts on Nebraska's signing class, anything Matt Rhule had to say as well. Congratulations to Nebraska and all the student athletes, right? National Signing Day, early National Signing Day. Always a big deal, always a big moment to get them signed, sealed, and delivered. Had a little bit of drama with one of them, Jeremiah Jones. We had a late push from Missouri, but it sounds like Nebraska was able to keep him in the fold. So I think that will end up being a win for the Huskers. Trying to get some Matt Rhule audio pulled up here because he had a lot to say today, Stricky. We hadn't heard from the coach after the Iowa game. They were just saving that press conference till here on what is today. Today is Wednesday.
The 4th? Yeah.
Yes, on July the 4th. Not so much July the 4th, I guess. Let's see. Trying to get this opened up. There was a really interesting quote from Matt Rhule on Heinrich Haarberg.
Say it isn't so.
On Heinrich Haarberg. Yeah. Here we go. So Matt Rhule, Strick, was asked about the quarterback position and Heinrich Haarberg, his future in the room. Obviously, Matt Rhule stumped for Heinrich Haarberg to remain in the quarterback room last year, more so than even previous staffs had for him. Mm-hmm. Here's what Matt Rhule had to say on the quarterback position for Nebraska.
Yeah, I think we've made a commitment to Heinrich that we would let him explore some other positions. So he really wants to be a pro player with his athleticism. So that would probably mean we would need to look at really a third quarterback. I don't want to speak about each kid as they go in the portal because I don't think that's fair to those guys. Other than I think Danny did everything the right way, and I respect him. I think he's going to be a great player. We'd love to have him here, but TJ's coming in, and we're really high on TJ. And so if we need to get a third guy to be in that room, then we would do it. We probably will. And Heinrich obviously gives us some flexibility.
What do you think, Stricky?
Okay. You have to ask a question, and I think there's 3 points that I'll make on it. All right. One being this. You let Daniel Kaelin go, or Daniel Kaelin decided to go because he felt there was a better opportunity for him and maybe didn't want to wait around to see what was going to happen with Dylan Raiola. Was he going to exit? Was he going to stay? Was he going to transfer? Whatever the outcome for Dylan Rhule was going to be, is he going to leave early? They're both, outside of, Daniel Kaelin being the same age, what are you going to see there? Then you would think they would have had discussions with Heinrich Haarberg and Kaelin about that situation and him looking to shift, which would then look to put you into another position. 2. Third, they made they had some discussions with young Raiola and old Raiola and maybe opening up position, even though time still needs to happen with that. So there's all types of scenarios that can happen, but you've left yourself open at this point. You've opened a door that you didn't necessarily have to, because right now it should be about program building, because that's what you sold us. Not only that, what you sold us, that's what you told us. And so that's what you were hoping to do. And unless the message that he was conveying to young Kaelin was just not something that he was feeling, he maybe thought he was a little bit more ready than maybe others may have thought that to be the case. So I don't know, man. That's a tough one. It's wild because now you've got a little void back there. And we've seen this before, Austin. We've seen what it's like at the University of Nebraska when there's no challenge behind the top quarterback. And you're stuck. We've seen it with Martinez. We've seen it with both Martinez's, and we've seen it maybe a little bit with Tommy Armstrong, but it seems to always have been the case. So I don't know.
There's a lot there. I think everything you said, I would back up and agree with, Strick. It's disappointing to me to see Daniel Kaelin leave when he would have been the backup. I really thought that, had he been maybe not assured, but said, hey, we're looking at you as the backup, we're thinking Heinrich's going to want to switch positions, that Daniel Kaelin would have been willing to stick around, right? Because think about this. Yes, Dylan Raiola is, the future, the present day and the future for Nebraska, at least for the next couple of years if he sticks around. But Nebraska was much luckier this year than they have been in many years past in terms of quarterback injuries. Dylan Rhule really missed, what was it, 1.5 drives at the end of UCLA with the hit that was to his upper back, kind of between the shoulders area. Nebraska starting quarterbacks have missed a game or multiple games dating back basically for the last decade. It's been a long time since Nebraska's been able to make it through the season with the same starting quarterback. Dylan Rhule started every game. Obviously, we all hope that all the players stay healthy, right? It's just unlikely to happen, right? Some regression is likely in terms of health, right? Guys get banged up. It happens. I think if Daniel Kalen sticks around, he would have beat out TJ Lateef for the backup quarterback role. So odds are he would have started a game or would have gotten some reps as the backup quarterback at Nebraska last year. Again, it's hard for me to fault a guy for wanting to play. Absolutely right. Go get your bag. Go play whatever it is you want to do, Daniel Kalen. More power to you. And I'm not even frustrated at or with Daniel Kalen. That'd be unfair to the young man for me to say something like that. My frustration is that I think Nebraska came to the right decision on Heinrich Haarberg, but why did it take the extra year? Why did it take the extra? Why did you not go get a backup quarterback last year?
We talked about
give Heinrich Haarberg an extra year to work on other positions to get himself more NFL ready. Now you just condensed the timeline for him and made it harder for him to make an impression in 1 year than he would have had to have, in 2 or 3 years. I think they're making the right decision. I don't think Heinrich Haarberg is a quarterback. What I said yesterday is that they probably thought Heinrich Haarberg was the best backup quarterback on their roster last year and probably for next year. I still think that's true, right? I think Heinrich Haarberg was more ready at quarterback to be the backup last year. Well, I guess for 2024, I guess it's still this season. I'm used to not talking about a bowl game. But in 2024, Heinrich Haarberg was almost assuredly the better backup quarterback option than Daniel Kalen. But again, if the plan was for Heinrich Haarberg to move to a different position, if Heinrich Haarberg's ultimate goal was to make it to the NFL, what did this year of playing quarterback show to NFL teams? They're not going to look at him as a quarterback. He's not Taysom Hill. His role in the NFL is not going to be as a quarterback unless it's like emergency basis only. If Heinrich Haarberg's goal all along has been to the NFL, then he basically just wasted a year of quarterback reps instead of getting actual live game reps at another position. Not smart for him. I understand it if you think he's your best option as the backup quarterback for the coaching staff, but if you're about the kids and you want to help him get to the NFL, you get the backup quarterback in the portal last year. Because guess what? It's going to cost you even more to get a backup quarterback out of the portal this year when you could have just rode with Danny Kalen last year. Say, hey, you're the backup quarterback. Heinrich wants to go to the NFL. We're going to try him at other positions. Grow up fast. You're our backup. But now you have to spend more money to get a backup QB out of the portal than you would have had to keep Daniel Kalen. Make it make sense.
Gotcha.
Make it make sense.
Gotcha. Austin, you're saying something on a rant that I said before we even went into last year. and look, you can go back and do all of the rewinds on the block takes. I said this way before last year. I said this in the spring that they should look to move him to a position because he's not going to be a quarterback at the next level based on mechanics. Listen, I give him credit. Let me just say that.
Yes.
Also, I give him credit because he did progress. What I saw from him last year and what I saw from him in the small time that he got this year, I saw progression. I saw his mechanics change. I saw he threw a little bit better. Good velocity, kept it down. Good press. I saw that. Now I'm going to give him credit, but I still felt he was more talented in a different position. I didn't know if it was tight end. I didn't know if it was on the defensive side. He's a hard-nosed guy, hard-nosed kid. I didn't know where it would be best for him, but I knew that it was not there at the quarterback position. And I love the rant. I totally agree with it because I felt the same way back then as I rewinded my voice right there just to get on point with you.
6706 says because Satterfield, that's why. Maybe. Could be. If that is the case, if it was Marcus Satterfield pushing for Heinrich Haarberg to be a quarterback, not Matt Rhule, even more evidence that Matt Rhule made the wrong decision to begin with.
How many years was that?
Year and a half. Year and 9 games. So
a couple years.
22 games.
Because you also remember I said yesterday, by the mistakes he made at the quarterback position, he has set the program back
3 years.
3 years. 3 years minimum.
Yes.
Could be 4. And now you're looking at a possible other one. Listen, I'm not throwing this out there. Only reason I'm saying this part, Austin, is because Cluster Johnson on WTF, which will be tomorrow from 6 to 7, we are going to be back. Cluster threw this out. He says he doesn't believe Rhule stays. He believes Rhule gets them to a bowl game because if you can just look at the track, I didn't believe it, but I'm just going to throw it out there because my partner said it on WTF. He said he doesn't believe he'll stay, and you could just look at the track record. How many teams he played for in high school, how quick and apt he was to jump and move, decommissions to multiple. It didn't seem like he's locked in or committed to anything solid. He's a nomad. He has some form of a nomad spirit. I have that. I can jump up and move to another city and get in where I fit in. I'm okay with that. I have a form of that spirit too working. But what if he dips? Ooh. I'm just saying. I'm not. I'm just throwing it out there. You lose your backup, Kalen. Yes, great, TJ Lateef. You've got great commitments. But what if he leaves now? Where you sit?
I think that's better. I would rather Nebraska go pay for a starting quarterback out of the portal than have to pay for a backup.
Okay, so you would be cool with the fresh start. Think about the decisions you're talking about.
I know.
You're talking about the misses that you've already made. You going out there and paying somebody premium top dollar on top of the fact that now he dips and you've totally.
It's going to be easier to splash that kind of cash around for a starting quarterback than it would be for a backup quarterback. Yeah, it's going to be less for a backup, but who was it? It was Old Dad 34. How does Nebraska go out and ask a kid to transfer just to sit on the bench? In this situation, it's going to be one of a few guys, right? It's going to be either a veteran looking to get into coaching, right, that wants to sit, doesn't want to sit, wants to play, but they understand the reality of the situation, right? Think about, why would anyone want to go be Patrick Mahomes' backup quarterback? Because guess what? You can get a heck of a football education from Andy Reid and from Patrick Mahomes, whether that prepares you for your next backup job, whether that prepares you for a career as a coach, an analyst on TV, whatever it is, right? Same sort of thing here. And again, I know Dylan Raiola is not Patrick Mahomes. Don't take it that way. Should he return, which personally I still think is the odds-on favorite outcome that he returns. Mm-hmm. The reason that you come to Nebraska is because you think Matt Rhule can train you up as a coach to be. With it being at Nebraska, being under Matt Rhule, working with Glenn Thomas, whoever, can get you set up for the next stage in your career. You're probably a 6th-year senior, a 7th-year guy. You'll play in case of emergency. You'll be serviceable, but you don't come in here with any sort of indication that you're going to get consistent, meaningful reps. The other type of player that would come in would be, honestly, someone like a Chubba Purdy, dare I say, right? Who'd bounced around. I mean, I guess he hadn't really bounced around before Nebraska. He was just at Florida State, but now Chubba's leaving Nevada. But think about that. He was going to be in competition for the starting job. If he didn't win it, the job was probably going to be his after 1, maybe 2 years anyways. So you're not looking at Dylan Raiola as the competition. You're looking at TJ Lateef as the competition, or Dayton Raiola as the competition. You're willing to sit for a year, maybe 2, and say, yeah, I like Nebraska. I like what this coaching staff has to offer. I'll take whatever reps I can get in live games now. Those guys come cheaper. They're hard to find. It's a tough needle to thread, but there's plenty of those guys out there, right? Think of potentially like a Brendan Sullivan that went from Northwestern to Iowa, right? Knew he had a shot to beat out Cade McNamara, didn't do it. McNamara went down, and then Brendan Sullivan's the starter, right? It's probably going to be some team's backup, right? Already. Probably going to be a backup transferring into be a backup, most likely, but they will know their role. They will know who they are, and I think any game reps are a bonus on top of that.
Shout out to unnamed texter 1000. That's all I got to say. Archie is waiting and watching. Listen, Texas is in a great position.
Yes.
With the ability of Sarkisian and that group to keep 2 premium quarterbacks. And when yours went down, he was able to step in and fill in. And then with understanding that when yours comes back, is back on point. Look, the messaging that they're speaking to that room and those guys, but I think also it speaks volume to the leadership of his family, his uncles. I think listen, the system, I think they're looking big picture there. Yes, he can go and do all kinds of things. That's where his heart and mind was. That's where he chose to be. But what I love about the Manning situation, unnamed texter, thank you for bringing that text in. What I love about that is that he's willing to work, support, get better, knows his position in place, and can see the vision beyond the short term. So many people look at the short-term vision and you end up jumping like in this game called Cubert. Some of y'all don't know about Cubert, but if
he was in Wreck-It Ralph.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cubert. I don't even know. He just would hop all over the place. People are hopping all over the place like Cubert. And it upsets stability. But what Texas is brewing, what they've been able to do in their recruiting, and then to keep that level of quarterback, shout out to them, man.
Well, Texas can do it because they've been in the college football playoff. It's about to be 2 years in a row.
Yep.
That's the problem for Nebraska, is that it's hard to you got to have credibility to make a move like that, to pull off a move like that. Nebraska doesn't have that credibility yet.
We just talked about it. I'm not going to go into it because we got other stuff. Let's go.
A couple other notes from early signing day. John Butler will be the defensive coordinator in the bowl game. He will also be in contention for the full-time gig. Stricky, as you look at it, do you think Nebraska is best served by bringing John Butler on as the defensive coordinator, keeping him on staff and giving him that job? Or should Nebraska maybe look outside and bring in another voice to be the DC?
Well, okay. You've already paid him, right? You're probably going to give him a little raise. You're going to save money because you're not going to pay him unproven to be at the Tony White level. So you'll save some money, probably around 800, maybe.
I believe it.
900,
yeah.
Right? So you're internal, but here's the issue. If you miss, we talked about the teeter-totter. If that unbalance misses and you're only relying on your offense and your defense goes from top 20 to suspect, now you're back in that spin your wheels mode, and you could have went out and found somebody that's solid out there, and you missed.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But we know that there was definitely, I think, as to why Tony White left, there was something going on internal that he ended up getting stuck with, or there was some pressure on, or he didn't like, and he decided to shift gears and go elsewhere because I would say Nebraska's closer. Nebraska's closer than Florida State. They've got a long way to go. But you're gonna be able to recruit. You're gonna have a style. I don't know where their offense goes. I don't believe that they have those pieces in place on the offensive side. Maybe you raise your defense and then your offense comes along. But I also know that Nebraska, I can look on the wall and see Tony White looking down the line and saying, there's an uphill climb. You know what I mean?
Right.
With what he's going to have to try to bring in, what Knighton and that crew would have had to do in order to keep the defense, because the foundation of it starts at the front line, and that's a shaky area for Nebraska right now.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where they go. John Butler has made no bones about his ambition to be a defensive coordinator. Again, he was at Penn State for at least a year. The other part of this, we'll circle back to John Butler here in just a second. Marcus Satterfield still sticking around. He will be on the staff. He will remain the tight ends coach, at least for now. Here is what Matt Rhule had to say on that decision.
Yeah, he's going to coach tight ends. I think our tight end play this year was excellent. That's what Dana thought. I think we have some young developmental guys we really, really like. And, that was Dana's call. I gave him full reign on, hey, whatever you want, Sat wants to be here. And I think he's done a great job in recruiting, and I think he'll continue to help us.
I don't know if I 100% buy it was completely Dana Holgerson's call, but I'm not necessarily mad at Dana Holgerson for retaining Marcus Satterfield or Matt Rhule for doing that, right? Because I think Matt Rhule makes a point, Strick. Tight ends were good. Maybe not the step forward everyone envisioned from Thomas Fedoni, but at the same time, Borkacher played more and played better. Lyndon Meyer showed that he was a real player for this team. I'm good with the decision. Are you?
I'm okay. Holgerson was cool, wanted him. I don't think he's not a bad coach.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same. It's in a way I felt some kind of way about Frost, right? And I've shared this. I said I believe Frost is good at what he does, and that's being in OC. And and the way I explained it, it's like being a analytics guy or being an accountant, or they're specialized in their silo. They do well in their space.
Mm-hmm.
They like to be in their office where they could just be, and yes, they come and they are able to deal with the specific area. When you have to deal with the broad scope, Scott isn't also very charismatic. You know what I mean? He has an introverted spirit about him. So you have to do all of that interact. And the interaction sometimes with Scott comes off as disingenuous. Mm-hmm. It comes off as fake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If you've been around him, I mean, if you've been around him and and you have discernment in that area, you can sense it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Comes off that way. Not that it comes off that way.
Perception is reality.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when you start to hear the stories, and you start to understand why, you know what I mean? Like not showing up for, some recruits and just all that stuff. So you can understand that's that introverted nature. You don't want to have to always, I'm like that sometimes. I'm an ambivert. So, but yeah, man, that's the thing. And I think it's okay. I'm okay with him hanging out. I think he's probably a good coach, and I think he's probably a good coach in his silo. I just think that maybe the OC position was just a little bit too much for him, not to mean that he's not a good coach.
We got a lot going on here on the text line and the comment section on YouTube. What we're going to do is we're going to take a break. When we get back, we will dive into the text line. We will dive into the comment section. 402-464-5685. Streams and text line brought to you by our friends at Starter Heyman Jewelers. This is On the Block, brought to you by Nebco. Great people over there. Saw one of their constructors' trucks driving around today, which reminded me to tell you that they're looking for mechanics for their constructors brand. If you're looking for a career shift, or you want to work for a company that's been in business for 4 generations, 108 years, family owned and operated, check them out at constructorslincoln.com or nebcoinc.com. He's Strick. I'm Austin. You're the Blockheads. We're taking your thoughts, diving into it more when we get back here to early or signing day coverage here on the Block.
You're listening to 93.7 The Ticket's coverage of early National Signing Day, sponsored by Members Own Credit Union on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Follow Austin, Strick, and On the Block on Twitter at Austin Orman, eStrick20, and On the Block 93.7. More of On the Block coming up.
Slay the holidays this year with a gift that'll really get them going. One that's built to win, like the new Honda CR-FR Motocrosser. One that's built for fun, like a Honda Mini Moto. Or one for each member of the family, like a Honda CR-F Trail Bike. At Rod's Power Sports, you'll find the motorcycle, ATV, or side-by-side they'll love. During the Honda Gifts That Go sales event, you can slay the streets in style with the Grom Mini Moto, slay the trails with the CR-F 50F, or pile into a Pioneer 1006 Deluxe Crew that can carry 6 elves over the fields and through the woods all year long. This year, don't just give any gift. Give the gift of outdoor adventure. with a ride they'll never forget. Don't miss out. Head to Rod's Power Sports in Lincoln, Nebraska during the Honda Gifts That Go sales event. It's your chance to slay the holidays and your gift list. Dealer participation may vary. See dealer for complete program and safety details.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
With a wide variety of menu options, including the best prime and Wagyu steaks in Lincoln, if you haven't been to Tavern 180, you're missing out. Try any of their steak options paired with one of their well-known martinis, and this will soon become your favorite date night spot. Call your friends for a casual get-together where steak, shrimp, chicken, and tasty cocktails await your arrival. Tavern 180, located next door to Tanner's at 30th and Yankee Hill.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstoRats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
Rain, snow, or shine, John Henry's is here to keep your home's plumbing systems working properly no matter what kind of weather Nebraska throws at us. From unclogging toilets and drains to installing new water heaters and water treatment systems, John Henry's is your plumbing expert in the Lincoln and Omaha communities. Visit us at calljh.com or call John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air,
and Electrical.
Not many businesses can say they've made it 60 years, but Madsen's Bowling and Billiards can. With 12 bowling lanes and the biggest pool room in Nebraska, where else would you go to enjoy an afternoon or evening? There's a great daily specials like $2 Tuesdays, games of bowling, shoe rentals, draft beers, and tacos, all just $2 each. Have a delicious burger at EJ's Lounge before or after your bowling or pool session, and you'll leave satisfied. Madsen's Bowling and Billiards at 47th and Dudley.
You're listening to 93.7 The Ticket's coverage of early National Signing Day, sponsored by Members Own Credit Union on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back here during On the Block. Austin,
Are we back?
We back. Like we never left.
Man, listen, the block is hot. The block is hot. Hey, the block is hot. Y'all are on fire, man. We thank you guys for your interaction. You're going back and forth with each other as well as with us, but we've got more in store for you right here on 93.7 The Ticket on the Block. What's up?
Hey, we sure do. This was just kind of on my mind, Strick, because one of the last quotes we just heard from Matt Rhule was he wanted to give Dana Holgorsen free reign over who he wants on the staff, right? The one move to this point that Dana Holgorsen has made is to say, hey, Garrett McGuire's not cutting his wide receivers coach. He goes out, he brings in a guy that Dana Holgorsen is more comfortable with himself, DeKel Shorts. He was Kentucky's wide receivers coach, had coached or been with Dana Holgorsen at West Virginia and Houston before that. So a guy that Dana Holgorsen is more familiar with. Well, Garrett McGuire's status is still in limbo, but it sounds like he's expected to return to the staff in some capacity, whether that's under Glenn Thomas and helping coach quarterbacks, because that's what Garrett McGuire was at Baylor, or potentially DeKel Shorts would be an outside receivers coach and McGuire would be an inside receivers coach, or vice versa, something to that effect. And that just raises my eyebrows, makes me say, whoa, what? Because thanks, Scooby. And I would tell you, ruh-roh, Raggy, because either Dana Holgorsen has free reign over who he wants on the offensive coaching staff, and Dana Holgorsen says, Garrett McGuire's not good enough, I don't want him on my staff. You can keep him around in recruiting, keep him around as a Matt Rhule right-hand man, whatever, but he's not an on-field coach up to my standard, okay? Either that's free reign, or guess what? You're not giving Dana Holgorsen free reign. Maybe he did want Marcus Satterfield back. Okay, fine. I don't know if I 100% believe that, but I'll go with it. But by getting rid of Garrett McGuire as wide receivers coach within 24 hours of getting the offensive coordinator job, tells me that Dana Holgorsen doesn't want Garrett McGuire as part of his offensive staff. So, if Garrett McGuire is retained in an on-field coaching role, not going to be one of the main guys, if he's the assistant to the coach, right, the second assistant, whatever it is. If he's an analyst, fine. If he's a recruiter, fine. But if he's an on-field coach, that tells me that Matt Rhule is talking out of both sides of his mouth and did not learn his lesson from Monday. Guess what? Hiring an assistant that your coordinator didn't want is a big part of the reason you lost your defensive coordinator. It's a big part of the reason. And guess what? You just signed Dana Holgorsen to a 2-year deal worth $1.2 million. It is a professional that you are trusting to save your career. Don't throw it away for a kid my age or younger than me. Don't do it, right? What John Butler's ambition helped push Tony White out the door, is what it seems like, right? John Butler wants to call plays again. There wasn't a great fit between those two. I don't know if that's factual. That's just my read on the situation. Don't let Garrett McGuire's, I don't know if I want to say incompetence or just lack of readiness for a big boy Division I coaching job. Don't let that get in the way of letting Dana Holgorsen save your Nebraska tenure, Matt Rhule. Don't let that be extra weight on the rocket ship that keeps you from taking off. Learn the lesson. Or if Garrett McGuire's good enough to keep around, be right and prove me wrong.
I like where you went. I like where you went with that. Because you have to assess this situation and know that when you put oil in water, it don't mix. Right? I'm going to use it from a basketball standpoint. Like, one of the things you have to do if you're not in the inner core of a staff, or a lot of them move together. Yes, there are guys that are brought in from the outside, but for the most part, is just even look at Fred. Initially, a lot of those guys moved with him, both from Iowa State up to Minnesota, down here to Nebraska. A good portion of those guys
in Chicago in there as well.
In Chicago. But what you have to do is you have to discern and have to decide. It can't be the homeboy hookup when things are on the line, when trouble is brewing. You have to be able to identify A2 brute situations. Not saying that that's the case, but Tony White had to know that John Butler, whether it be by the little Game of Thrones whispers that be going, the little people that be kind of whisper, and it gets back to one guy and goes to the head. It has to be that. You have to know, it has to be maybe some things that you wanted implemented that didn't get implemented. Maybe some people that you wanted played that didn't. There's these little usurping things. I'm not saying that's the case, but I'm saying you've got to know there's a reason behind why Tony White exited. If that oil and vinegar situation is working where you're creating an unnecessary insecurity in that room that caused that man to want to exit. But guess what Tony White did? He learned.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you he went down to Florida State and he had a discussion and he said, listen, this is how it's going to be for me to come.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got to be able to bring my own people. I've got to be able to implement the guys that I want, or have a discussion and go in depth as to why I don't want them and why I want this guy. I bet that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you have that situation and you're trying to potentially create that same thing on the other side. It goes by what we talked about yesterday, kicking it down the road. Kicking it down. If it doesn't happen, you've basically just kicked something down the road, and then you're going to have to address later, which is set your program back another half a year, if not more.
Yeah.
So
rip the Band-Aid off and get the stitches.
Let's go. Let's get it together.
0739 says, I disagree. Tony White was leaving this year regardless of Butler. Every year Nebraska would have been having to go through, is this the year Tony White leaves? Glad he left now so Nebraska can move on. You shouldn't be glad that Tony White left, right? Nebraska is not better for him having left. He was a darn good defensive coordinator.
Facts.
I can understand why Tony White would want to leave. I don't begrudge him for that.
No.
But I am telling you as best as I can without telling you John Butler was a factor in Tony White leaving. John Butler wanted to be a defensive coordinator again. Those two, like you said, Strick, a little bit oil and water, right? I look back on a quote from Tony White at his press conference. I don't remember if it was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. It wasn't necessarily in reference to John Butler specifically. He wasn't asked about it, but Tony White said something to the effect of, hey, Coach Rhule's the one with the vision. He's the head coach. Whatever the head man wants done, it's our job to find a way to make it work and get it done. Didn't realize it at the time. Looking back, that strikes me as Tony White wouldn't have hired John Butler if it was his choice.
Mm-hmm.
I think they did their best to work together. I think that professional ambitions, might have inhibited some of that working relationship. It didn't mix. Tony White makes the choice that's best for him. John Butler potentially moves up the ladder again. He's calling plays for Nebraska in the bowl game. So we'll see. Phil says Tony White only came back last year because he didn't get the job he wanted. John Butler has nothing to do with it at all. I'm sure Tony White came back last year because he didn't get the job he wanted. I'm sure Tony White, wanted to be someplace warmer, get his family back to Florida, get back to the ACC where he's comfortable. But I'm telling you, don't discount what I'm saying necessarily, right? I'm not saying it was the biggest factor. I'm not saying it's the only factor, right? Stuff like moves like this don't happen because of just one reason, unless it's super drastic. This is not a monocausal thing for Tony White leaving, right? There's a bunch of reasons that go into it. I'm just saying don't rule out one of the reasons, I guess. PCAT, appreciate you texting in a couple times here. He says, I like Rhule, think and hope things work out, but there are a lot of decisions now basically in the third year. I'm a little bit unsure. Stricky, that's why I keep saying this. I said it yesterday. I'll keep saying it. You're going into year 3 after the bowl game. Essentially, your third offseason at Nebraska starts now. It's time to get it right. If you have a strategy, if you think these are the guys, okay, cool. They got to prove it.
Yep.
They got to prove it this year. You can't afford to be wrong anymore. I'm not saying Matt Rhule's on the hot seat. I'm saying, like you did, if Jeff Sims, that decision set Nebraska back 3 years, you got to start turning the page right now in year 3. If you made the wrong hired offensive coordinator for, what was that? That'd be 22 of your 24 games, 21 of your 24 games, whatever it is. You got to make the right decision right now. You got to be right. Pressure's on. I'm not saying Matt Rhule needs to get fired. If Nebraska only goes 7-5 or 8-4 next year, right? Absolutely not.
Right.
But it would lead me to raise my eyebrows to the degree of, hey, Fred Hoiberg had the same thing, right? You get Fred 1.0, Fred 2.0. Fred Hoiberg learned, made good decisions, and it is paying massive dividends. That is all I'm asking. Be right, Matt Rhule. Make the right choices this time because you won't get a third chance. You got your second this year.
That part. There it goes. Love it. Where are we going?
Defensive coordinator 6901 says, what's Bo Pelini up to? Are you in on Bo Pelini coming back as DC?
I don't know if their energy vibes together between Rhule and Pelini. I don't know. I don't know if that energy would vibe. I think they would. Okay. A great metaphor for me on that one would be like two Rams.
Mm.
Two Rams looking for who's gonna have the babies, and they're button heads.
Mm.
I just see a picture of just two Rams
competition
lining each other up, head butting each other. So I don't know. I don't know if that would work.
I don't know.
I think
what
that
happens, come and gone. That ship sailed. I don't think it's gonna happen.
I think Rhule is a mild-mannered guy, kind of, but I also think he has a little bit of edge to him. And I think Tony White is a mild-mannered guy. And I think you need those balances. I think when you have two, high, hard energy type guys, alpha, whatever you want to call it, type guys in the room, I think it sets up for not a good situation. And I think that's why you probably need a balance. And that means a difference in how you hire, probably. I would say.
And I still think Bo's a little bitter.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him, even though the same leadership isn't necessarily in charge.
Bitter Bo Pelini.
Bitter Bo Pelini.
BBP.
And I'm sorry, do we need to do the retread thing? It doesn't always have to be a familiar name, right? Sometimes an outside voice can do a lot of good too. So, I don't know. Let's go to break. We'll wrap up hour one of the show with a familiar name in the running in a familiar spot. Who does Central Florida have its eyes on for head coach? We'll get to that to wrap up hour one of On the Block.
You're listening to 93.7 The Ticket's coverage of early National Signing Day, sponsored by Members Own Credit Union on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Download our app by searching for 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day wherever you are. More of On the Block next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
Load up on meat and more this winter at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This week's special through December 17th is 15% off all wine and spirits and 25% off on thermometers. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Who wants free diamonds? This holiday season, as a thank you for shopping with us, Sartor Heyman Jewelers is giving you free diamonds. Now through December 6th, receive a pair of sparkling diamond stud earrings, a stunning diamond pendant, or a gorgeous diamond tennis bracelet for free with your qualifying purchase. We only have a limited number to give away, so once they're gone, they're gone. Don't wait on this one. Visit Sartor Heyman Jewelers, where your gift shopping shines brighter. In Lincoln at South Point Mall, downtown, and in Grand Island on State Street.
Husker Nation, it's time. This Sunday, the Nebraska women's basketball team tips off Big Ten play against Minnesota at Pinnacle Bank Arena. The energy will be electric, and they need you there to help cheer them to victory. Single game tickets and starting 5 mini plans are available now, so don't wait. Go to huskers.com/tickets and secure your seat. Go Big Red.
Midwest Bank invites you to celebrate with us. Join us for our Christmas open house on Friday, December 6th at our 70th and Pioneers or 27th and Jamie Lane locations. We'll have cookies, coffees, and apple cider waiting for you, along with the chance to enter our raffle for some wonderful prizes. Come share the holiday cheer with us. We can't wait to see you there. Happy holidays from Midwest Bank. Learn more at www.midwest.bank. Member FDIC.
Come enjoy a show of the Midwest's best MMA fighters on Saturday, December 7th with Violence Fight League 2 at the Complex, the former location of Champions Fun Center. Fights are scheduled throughout the night, and if you haven't been before, now is the perfect time to go, with Nebraska football in between the regular season and a bowl game. Doors open at 6 p.m. with the first bout at 7 p.m. Learn more about the fighters and buy tickets at thecomplexlincoln.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, wanting to thank you all again for your continued service. November is off and running. Check this out. Get up to $12,000 off or 0% financing on select new vehicles. We have great lease specials with new Trax and Trailblazers starting at $299 per month and new Blazer EVs leasing for $399. Great payments, discounts, and of course, 0% financing. So make that short drive down 144th Street or check us out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did. All finance with approved credit, leases with $2,500 down.
Your Christmas list changes a lot as you get older. Dreams of video games, remote control cars, and baseball gloves turn into dreams of shoes. You know, practical things. Brown Shoe Fit is the king of shoes in Lincoln, with brands like Sorel, Ugg, Brooks, Hoka, and more to make you fashionable and comfortable. Grab a new Ridge wallet or buy 3, get 1 free on smart wool socks for the ultimate stocking stuffer. And don't forget a reliable gift card for that hard-to-buy person in your life. Brown Shoe Fit at 66th and Q in Lincoln.
Rain, snow, or shine, John Henry's is here to keep your home's plumbing systems working properly no matter what kind of weather Nebraska throws at us. From unclogging toilets and drains to installing new water heaters and water treatment systems, John Henry's is your plumbing expert in the Lincoln and Omaha communities. Visit us at calljh.com or call
John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
You're listening to 93.7 The Ticket's coverage of early National Signing Day, sponsored by Members Own Credit Union on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Well, we were talking about Bo Pelini coming back to Nebraska. Highly doubt that is going to happen, and dare I say, I hope that does not happen for myriad reasons. But Stricky, our friends down in
not a
myriad reasons. I think Orlando is Stricktown number 3, right?
That is a fact.
Dallas, Phoenix, then Orlando.
If it wasn't for the Orlando pathway, Stricky's not in Lincoln right now.
So in Stricktown number 3, there resides a certain Division I university.
What's that one?
Member of the Big 12. Did
your boy Michael Jordan Jr. or no, Jeffrey? No, what's his name?
Jeffrey Jordan?
No, I don't think it was Jeffrey. It's the other one. Marcus Jordan.
Marcus Jordan. There you go.
He went to that one. Mm-hmm.
Johnny Dawkins may or may not be the head coach of the basketball program.
There was a coach there that we know, we do know.
There was.
His name is it's kind of cold outside.
What if I told you that man is in the running to coach there again?
Jack Frost?
Good try.
Jack Frost nipping at an open bar.
What if I told you UCF is down to 2 head coaching candidates, or at least has reached out to 2 head coaching candidates that we know of to replace Gus Malzahn?
Tough conference. Conference has changed now.
Conference is changing. Interesting conference. Gus Malzahn pulls the Chip Kelly. He goes to be Florida State's offensive coordinator. We have heard about UCF's interest in 2 men to be the head coach, right? One of them is former head coach of the Knights, Scott Frost, who we last heard was serving as an analyst for the Los Angeles Rams. The other coach also has Los Angeles ties. Just today, we find out UCF has reached out to Lincoln Riley about interest in their head coaching position.
Coast to coast.
Coast
to coast.
Which is the better or worse move for UCF?
Okay. It's easy to go with the no. No, not N-O, but K-N-O-W. It's easy to go with the no of what has been one of the best times of your life. It's kind of like this, and those of you that are listening may be able to understand that. It's kind of like you had a breakup with a girl that you just head over heels for, or if you're a girl listening, a guy that you were head over heels for. And you remember all of the good days, all of the wonderful moments, all of the great times, and whether it be the holidays and whether you were hanging out at the Haymarket and riding the little bike and drinking. Do you remember all those good moments? Hiking up, down in Phoenix, I don't know, whatever you did, right? You break up, and the memory of those good moments, the next thing you know, you think going back to that will bring more of those good moments. But it's a risk, because one of the things that I know about us as people is that by way of experience, by way of life be lifing, we change. The risk is it's not the same. And if you, and there has been people that have gone back to different situations, and in some it hasn't been the same. There's some that broke up with situations, and people like Michigan State, for example, would have loved to have seen Saban come back. Right?
Yes.
So just as an example, I mean, but it doesn't happen all the times like that. So there's what I'm saying. That's the risk of that situation of bringing in Scott. The risk of a Lincoln Riley is similar, but in a different manner. Oklahoma success. So they're the same in that form. The only difference is Scott Frost has advantage because he's been there.
Yes.
The difference is, or the similarity is, Oklahoma success, UCF falling off the la-di-dee-doo, 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 fell off. And now what are you going to get by bringing in a Lincoln Riley? So the question then becomes, who do you feel you have most confidence in to bring it back? I personally think Lincoln Riley has a better recruiting track record.
And a better head coaching track record.
Right. Long term. But I also think that the advantage of him being there before, he took advantage of a lot of those guys that were already there. He hit the jackpot. That's like somebody sitting in Vegas at the slot machine, and they've been putting coins in that joint forever. And the next thing you know, man, God, this one ain't working. And then all of a sudden, doggone Austin Orman comes over there and sits down and puts the quarter in there after a couple pulls, hits the jackpot. That's what basically happened with Scott Frost down at UCF.
You could also argue that's what happened with Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma, taking over for Bob Stoops.
Very, very, very.
And he left before that didn't happen.
Very possible.
We have this from Cubsker on the text line here, Stricky. Why would Lincoln Riley leave USC? I know it was a rough year, but it seems like that would be a demotion or a step down for him. This is where I'm going to take off my Dallas-Fort Worth Stockyards hat, put on my imaginary tinfoil hat here. Okay. Which side put this information out? Did UCF put this out? Did Lincoln Riley put this out? Or did USC put this out? I think for UCF, they would put this out because, hey, we're going after big name coach. We are serious. We are for real. We want to improve. I think Lincoln Riley and or his agent would want to put this out. Hey, look, people still want me, USC. Be grateful for what you do have. I could leave. I'm not asking for much more money. I'm just asking for a little bit more support. But look, other people want me. You can't afford to let me walk. Who's going to be better than me? I think USC, if they got wind of this, would be willing to put this out because we're not happy with what you're doing. We're USC. People want to coach here. We're fine with you leaving, right? Let's put this out there. See what the reaction is.
See what
who else bites on us.
Coach whack-a-moles.
Yeah. Exactly.
What coach pops up in whack-a-mole?
Yeah.
Right. That's good.
I don't think Lincoln Riley wants to go to UCF, but what I think Lincoln Riley wants is stability. He likes his head coaching position. He likes the status and everything that comes with it. I'm pretty sure. Who wouldn't? I could see UCF putting this out. I could see Lincoln Riley's agent putting this out. I could see USC putting this out. I don't know if any of those are true or more likely than the other. I'm just saying all parties have an interest in this information getting out by some angle.
Especially the timing of it. I think the timing of it as well is important. It gives time for any top tier coordinator, any former Chip. I don't think Chip Kelly would want to go back to LA at this point. I think Chip Kelly's lying in wait. I think he's lying in wait. You remember what those flies do when they land and they see the meal? They rub their little hands together.
Crazy.
I think Chip Kelly's rubbing his hands together right now with everything that's going on at Ohio State, just to be honest. But I don't know.
Agree, but Chip Kelly's kind of the problem. His offense has only scored 10 points against Michigan. I think Chip Kelly's chances have gone down in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't know, Stricky.
I don't know. Well, what say you? 402-464-5685. All parties, I think you're right, have interest in putting out the information. The question then becomes, who is the party that, put out the information or nudge the person to put out the information? Because sometimes you don't ever want to put out there who you're going for, because it can give rise to salaries, right? You may have to pay Scott more because you put out there that you may bring in Lincoln Riley, because, if you make the choice, and you gotta make it worth my while if you choose me.
Hey,
that's one of the things that I can really get on board with what you're saying, Austin. I know we got to go to break. I can get on board with what you're saying, because that's the one thing we did. I never had intention of going to Denver. I went down, bet on myself, going to play 3 games in the summer league, averaged 20-something points in the summer league, and this is after my rookie year, and then went straight from there to Denver just to work out. Chauncey was there, all them guys. I had no intention of going to Denver, but it was to leverage, to make them think that I could bounce, to get them to up the ante. So it could be that's what's going on right now. Could be.
We'll have to see. Let's take a break. When we get back, we will talk some NFL MVP race. Seems like it's a 3-way race right now. 2 quarterbacks and a running back. Who does Stricky think deserves to win? Then we'll get into the college football playoff. My, oh my, the committee created a mess. All that and more ahead in hour 2, brought to you by NEPCO.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to 93.7 The Ticket's coverage of early National Signing Day. Sponsored by Members Own Credit Union on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Follow Austin, Strick, and On the Block on Twitter at Austin Orman, eStrick20, and On the Block 93.7. More of On the Block coming up.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Load up on meat and more this winter at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This week's special through December 17th is 15% off all wine and spirits and 25% off on thermometers. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Midwest Bank invites you to celebrate with us. Join us for our Christmas open house on Friday, December 6th at our 70th and Pioneers or 27th and Jamie Lane locations. We'll have cookies, coffees, and apple cider waiting for you, along with the chance to enter our raffle for some wonderful prizes. Come share the holiday cheer with us. We can't wait to see you there. Happy holidays from Midwest Bank. Learn more at www.midwest.bank. Member FDIC.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL Weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
The Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see mostly sunny skies and it will be breezy, being high around 49. Tonight, clear skies with a continued breeze and a low near 14. And tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies return with light winds and a high near 27. Meteorologist Kyle Clucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
As a proud member of the Roofing and Solar Reform Alliance, Coalition Restoration stands out by providing thorough property assessments, personalized customer service, and top-notch craftsmanship. With years of experience in the industry, Coalition Restoration has built a notable reputation for having a team filled with skilled professionals and possessing the expertise to handle any roofing project, big or small. Visit their website today for a free roof assessment at www.coalitionrestoration.com or give them a call at 402-607-8186.
Nebraska Veterans Aid is here for veterans and dependents facing unforeseen financial emergencies. Get assistance with food, fuel, shelter, clothing, transportation, and even funeral and medical expenses. If you're a veteran facing a financial emergency, apply for Nebraska Veterans Aid through your county veteran service officer. Learn more at veterans.nebraska.gov/NVA. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Who wants free diamonds? This holiday season, as a thank you for shopping with us, Sartor Heyman Jewelers is giving you free diamonds. Now through December 6th, receive a pair of sparkling diamond stud earrings, a stunning diamond pendant, or a gorgeous diamond tennis bracelet for free with your qualifying purchase. We only have a limited number to give away, so once they're gone, they're gone. Don't wait on this one. Visit Sartor Heyman Jewelers, where your gift shopping shines brighter. In Lincoln at South Point Mall, downtown, and in Grand Island on State Street.
Husker Nation, it's time. This Sunday, the Nebraska women's basketball team tips off Big Ten play against Minnesota at Pinnacle Bank Arena. The energy will be electric, and they need you there to help cheer them to victory. Single game tickets and starting 5 mini plans are available now, so don't wait. Go to huskers.com/tickets and secure your seat. Go Big Red.
Your Christmas list changes a lot as you get older. Dreams of video games, remote control cars, and baseball gloves turn into dreams of shoes. You know, practical things. Brown Shoe Fit is the king of shoes in Lincoln, with brands like Sorel, UGG, Brooks, Hoka, and more to make you fashionable and comfortable. Grab a new Ridge wallet or buy 3, get 1 free on Smart Wool socks for the ultimate stocking stuffer. And don't forget a reliable gift card for that hard-to-buy person in your life. Brown Shoe Fit at 66th and Q in Lincoln.
You're listening to 93.7 The Ticket's coverage of early National Signing Day, sponsored by Members Own Credit Union on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for 3! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America, on air and online at theticketfm.com. Presented by NEBCO. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Welcome back in. It is hour 2 of a Wednesday show here during On the Block. Appreciate NEBCO for their sponsorship of the show. All day long, our coverage here at the Ticket of early National Signing Day is presented and sponsored by Members Own Credit Union. Learn about their certificate special of a 9-month term for 4.1% APY at membersowncu.org or stop by their location in Lincoln at 33rd and A or their location in Beatrice. Austin Norman, Eric Strickland with you. We're going to shift away from college football here for just a minute, talk some NFL MVP race and odds before we dive back into the college football playoffs. Stricky, you and I were texting about the playoff a little bit last night. It is a mess for the committee. We'll get to that here in a little bit. But NFL MVP. Seems like it's a three-way race right now. Kind of that Chimera, Cerberus. I forget which one of those dogs has the 3 heads in mythology or whatnot. Lamar Jackson, it seems like he's had it won before, but then not so fast. Saquon Barkley puts up 300 yards from scrimmage, and oh my gosh, we're finally going to break the string of quarterbacks winning MVP. And then Josh Allen delivers his signature moment in the snow against a reeling but still talented San Francisco 49ers team. And now it looks like it's his award to lose. What do you make of the MVP race right now in the NFL?
So let's start there. Lamar Jackson has and is having an absolutely phenomenal season. Let's start with him. One, he has a 116 QB rating.
Woo!
He has 3,290 yards in passing, 678 yards in rushing, 29 TD passes, as well as 3 rushing. That in itself is a phenomenal year. Now, take into account, it's really only him and Derrick Henry.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Zay Flowers is good. I don't think Zay Flowers is a number one. I think it helps with him. I think he's good. I think he's, let me rewind that. I do think he's a number one-ish or a 1A. I think is
he like Rashee Rice?
Yes. I don't think he's a dominant one. I don't think he's like a Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson or, Devontae Adams. I don't think he's on that level, but for them, he's good for what he does. Now, the issue is there's no one else. Now, Andrews is solid. Andrews is a great go-to for them, and I think that's a solid in the tight end position. But to put up those type of numbers from the quarterback position, that's well. The problem has been for him, is it sustainable? He comes off, he has this great start or great mid, and then tapers off towards the end. And then in
Lost
the playoffs,
their last 3 against playoff teams as well.
Right? So that's the issue with him. Now you look at Saquon Barkley, just happened to be in the right place. Great. I think it's a great system for him. A lot of pieces around him, but to put up those type of numbers, 255 rushing yards against the Rams, on top of I think 100 and something in that, like you said, a 300-yard day. The issue again for him is going to be the continuation. Does it continue? Is he able to continue to do that on a sustainable level? And then is he able to surpass the single season record mark?
I think that Saquon's case for MVP is decently similar to Ashton Genty's for Heisman. Right? Saquon Barkley was the offseason signing for the Eagles. But that was already a loaded unit, right? Still a good offensive line. Hurts got his mega deal. You have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith at wide receiver, among plenty of other weapons. What Saquon Barkley, to me, Strick, will have to do, it's got to start with breaking Eric Dickerson's record. It's got to continue with Philadelphia making a late run at the division, maybe finding a way to win the division, and being the hottest team in football entering awards voting. Because Saquon Barkley just being really good for a running back would be nice for him. It'd be a cool story. But if he doesn't break Dickerson's record, or if he's not the primary reason for the Eagles' success, he's going to be fighting uphill in a quarterback award.
League. Yeah.
Right? He's going against 2 quarterbacks. You already mentioned Lamar Jackson, and now you're going to get to Josh Allen. It's just been so hard for a running back to overcome the value part of most valuable player with all the advanced stats in the NFL right now.
Absolutely. And so Josh Allen's kind of been teetering, close, but no cigar. And then he has a great moment. Giving the Kansas City Chiefs, and I've thrown all kinds of tinfoil things at you about the Chiefs.
And you're going to stay on that till the day they lose.
I'm going to stay on it until they do. But that win is a big signature for him. But the key to that was not that it was just that win. It was how he followed it up. And there you go with, San Francisco being one of those in that, dominating with a 35-10 win.
The lateral, the pass from Amari Cooper in the pitch, the touchdown, that's the moment.
Yeah. And then securing the trifecta, the touchdown pass along with the touchdown catch, along with the rushing touchdown. He secures that. Those are those type of moments that you just kind of say, golly. And then he's continuously putting up great numbers as well. So right now, I think it's Josh Allen's to lose.
Buffalo has the easiest schedule remaining. Josh Allen's going to get the chance to pad his numbers.
Yeah.
Playing in a bad division, the way they're looking right now. I saw a stat. I need to see if I can track it down. There's been a lot made of Sean McDermott, right? Is he the right guy for Buffalo? Can he get the Bills over the hump in the AFC? Right. I mean, it's still Kansas City's conference until proven otherwise. But Buffalo just needs one more win, Strick, to get to 11, and that would be, I believe, their 5th straight season winning 11 games or more, which is really hard to do in the NFL in a league that goes for parity. They set the league up to have teams rise and have teams fall. I like the tweet at some point today. I'm having issues scrolling back and finding, I don't remember when it was, but it's a short list of coaches. It's like Andy Reid. I know is the most recent one to do it. All I know is it's been a very impressive run for the Bills, and it's still been overshadowed by the Chiefs because of everything Patrick Mahomes has done, because of the playoff shortcomings. Do you think that the Josh Allen remains the favorite because of the easy schedule? Or do you think that Saquon or Lamar playing tougher schedules, if they step up and lead their teams to more wins down the stretch, does Josh Allen get more credit for stat padding, or Lamar and Saquon get more credit for leading their teams to bigger, more important wins?
I think the one where you're talking about leading to the big wins, I would probably have to say that would change the eyes of the voters with regard to Lamar Jackson. The reason being is he probably, outside of Derrick Henry, has the most that he would have to do in order to get it done. And what
the worst supporting cast,
right?
Mm-hmm.
What you see from him is, even when he's had good supporting cast, he falters and he ends badly.
Last year,
right?
2019.
That's the same. That's the last thing you really know outside of what he's doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think consistency would be fine for Josh Allen to finish things off. I think the consistency of just playing well, getting the team in, solid placing in the playoffs, and I think they would be fine with that look. I think the hardest challenge, and if he's able to do it, you're gonna have to make a decision. I think Saquon is the outside man, outside of the fact of him breaking that record and then leading the charge to them getting into winning the division and getting into that playoff position. So that's a tough feat, but it's possible.
It is. I think that Saquon Barkley, like you said, would have to break the record. He has the uphill climb too, because he has by far, and I do mean by far, the best supporting cast around him on offense and in terms of defense as well. That's a lot to overcome. It's a tall mountain to climb. So then I think it comes down to, which narrative do you believe in more? Which do you think is the stronger case for MVP? Best player on potentially the best team in the AFC, right? That's MVP a lot, is who is the best player on the best team this year. Buffalo's keeping pace with Kansas City for the one seed in the AFC. So does Josh Allen's argument of I'm the best player on one of the two best teams in the AFC have more merit? Or does Lamar Jackson saying, I'm Superman, putting this team on my shoulders, carrying it on my back, this team would not have this same record without me? Does that narrative carry more weight for you? Does it change since Lamar's already won an MVP?
For me, it depends on the way that the league wants the perception to be. Is this league going to continue to be a quarterback's league? Or do you want to shift the conversation back into the importance of what the running back is to raise their level of importance? It just depends. Again, you've got to remember, guys, that these sports leagues have changed their charters, and their charters are now entertainment as opposed to just being a sports league. So it just depends on what narrative they want to convey, I think.
So which narrative does the league want, you think?
That's something that's only going to have to play itself out. I don't know. I can tell you that it's probably going to be in the quarterback space. The reason being is quarterback play to me, and if you guys are listening, 402-464-5685, let me know. Quarterback play has been dismal across the board, outside of a few elites, and even at times that's bad. You're not seeing the same, and I'm talking about, you're not seeing the numbers that you have seen in the early stages of the quarterback. I'm talking about when Drew Brees was around, when, early Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, and they weren't full all-out pass offenses then. And the numbers that they were able to put up, regularly over 260, 300-yard games, even some encroaching some 400-yard nights, without it being a fully dominated pass. So you got to ask the question, what is that? And so you take that into account, look at it, and then assess, do you want to raise the conversations about quarterback play getting better? And I don't know where it goes from there and how you would present that, but maybe that's what you're looking at.
Is there an outside shot for Jared Goff to win MVP for the Lions? Resurgent Lions have improved from last year. They have games with more touchdowns than incompletions. I don't think Jared Goff should be a favorite. Is there a world in which Detroit steamrolls through? If Detroit beats Buffalo and Jared Goff has a big day, is there an outside chance for Jared Goff to get some MVP first place votes?
I think that the way the line, I just almost walked off on you just because I thought that was you snuck that one on your boy. They're a good team. He looked good last year.
Mm-hmm.
He's continued to play solid. You can't look at Jared Goff and say that he's blowing the doors off of the season. I think he's doing great.
He's doing really well.
I think he's doing great.
Numbers.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
His numbers are solid and great.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I think he can, but it's going to depend on, he can sneak in the back door. Depends on what transpires with those other guys at this point, because I think he's not getting the benefit of the doubt just because they're a good team. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Just because they're a good team.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, you got to think about some of the things that Josh has lost, what he's been able to do. And are they looking at the most valuable player differently than they tended to do in the past? I think they're starting to shift away and really assessing that that's the case. What you think?
Cubsker says, I have a hot take. I think the MVP should always go to a position player and the quarterback should get their own type of award. Do we need to separate out how we do this, Strick? Because, yeah, it has turned into a quarterback award. The way that pretty much every stat is valued right now, the quarterback is going to get the benefit of the doubt when you factor in value. Do we need a quarterback of the year award and a most valuable every other position award?
Why not?
Because we already have offensive and defensive player of the year.
I think why not? I mean, you also have a quarterback award, don't you? Isn't there a quarterback award? Or is
you do in college at least?
Okay. Yeah, I think you might, man. I think that would be good. I think it should be. But that's the thing. What is most valuable player?
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know. Do they need to change what it is, what the definition of it is? But it has become very much so a quarterback dominated, award.
Mm-hmm.
And it's unfortunate because I think there are, it's tough to look at wide receivers as that. It's tough. So
Devontae Smith won his Heisman.
Yeah.
Devontae won his Heisman. I'm just saying. There's precedent for it.
It's there.
But, Stricky, I'm going to throw this one out there to you. Your boy might be in a dogfight for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Which one?
Jaden Daniels. Do you give it to Jaden Daniels? Do you give it to Brock Bowers?
I'm going to leave that to the listeners. Who do you think's more deserving? 402-464-5685, also on the YouTube stream and X and Facebook, that's a tough one. But because it's been a roller coaster ride in some ways for Jaden Daniels, for me. I don't know I think a little bit less for Bowers, but I'm impressed by what Jaden Daniels has done as a rookie, at the quarter. I mean, that's with quarterback play being as dismal as it's been, you gotta be pretty impressed by what he's been able to do. So that's a tough one. Who say you guys, man? Help Stricky out. Stricky needs help. I need a tag right now. I need you guys to give me a little insight on what you guys think on that one.
0064 says neither. It's got to be Bo Nix.
Wow.
Hey, Bo is balling recently.
He is balling. Is that a biased pick? Are you a Denver Broncos fan?
Let's see if we
talk
can
to me.
Scroll back through some previous texts.
Talk to me. I need to know. I need to.
Bo's been good. Bo
has been good.
Gotten better this year. I still think Jaden Daniels is probably too much for Bo Nix to overcome. And I would honestly go Bowers second here. Yes, 0064, big Broncos fan. Tim A.V. says also, what about Bo Nix? Brad says Micah Parsons for MVP. Me.
Nah, that's a super bias.
One Eye Ray says Goff has lost half of his defense. They have been pretty decimated on that side. How about this one, though, Stricky? OG Breaker. 5th graders need awards, not grown adults. Man, welcome to Sports Talk Radio. We got stuff to talk about. Come on now. Come on, man.
Oh, shoot.
Give us a break. Cubs your text back in. Appreciate that as
Thank
well.
you, guys.
Let's go to break. We'll keep this conversation rolling maybe with Jay in the crossover, but the College Football Playoff Committee put out its rankings. Stricky, 9-3 Alabama is in the College Football Playoff.
Bruh.
We're going to talk about it when we get back to On the Block.
You're listening to 93.7 The Ticket's coverage of early National Signing Day, sponsored by Members Own Credit Union on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Download our app by searching for 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day wherever you are. More of On the Block next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Couple Chevrolet GMC, wanting to thank you all again for your continued service. November is off and running. Check this out. Get up to $12,000 off or 0% financing on select new vehicles. We have great lease specials with new Tracks and Trailblazers starting at $299 per month and new Blazer EVs leasing for $399. Great payments, discounts, and of course, 0% financing. So make that short drive down 144th Street or check us out online at couplecars.com. You'll be glad you did. All finance with approved credit, leases with $2,500 down.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. And Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at DoorsPlusLLC.com. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
A Husker Nation, it's time. This Sunday, the Nebraska women's basketball team tips off Big Ten play against Minnesota at Pinnacle Bank Arena. The energy will be electric, and they need you there to help cheer them to victory. Single game tickets and starting 5 mini plans are available now, so don't wait. Go to huskers.com/tickets and secure your seat. Go Big Red.
Your Christmas list changes a lot as you get older. Dreams of video games, remote control cars, and baseball gloves turn into dreams of shoes. You know, practical things. Brown Shoe Fit is the king of shoes in Lincoln, with brands like Sorel, UGG, Brooks, Hoka, and more to make you fashionable and comfortable. Grab a new Ridge wallet or buy 3, get 1 free on Smart Wool socks for the ultimate stocking stuffer. And don't forget a reliable gift card for that hard-to-buy person in your life. Brown Shoe Fit at 66th and Q in Lincoln.
As a proud member of the Roofing and Solar Reform Alliance, Coalition Restoration stands out by providing thorough property assessments, personalized customer service, and top-notch craftsmanship. With years of experience in the industry, Coalition Restoration has built a notable reputation for having a team filled with skilled professionals and possessing the expertise to handle any roofing project, big or small. Visit their website today for a free roof assessment at www.coalitionrestoration.com or give them a call at 402-607-8186.
If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals and everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com.
Nebraska Veterans Aid is here for veterans and dependents facing unforeseen financial emergencies. Get assistance with food, fuel, shelter, clothing, transportation, and even funeral and medical expenses. If you're a veteran facing a financial emergency, apply for Nebraska Veterans Aid through your county veteran service officer. Learn more at veterans.nebraska.gov/NVA. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
You're listening to 93.7 The Ticket's coverage of early National Signing Day, sponsored by Members Own Credit Union on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back here during On the Block. Had a question on the text line from Kevin. Kevin, appreciate you chiming in here. Wanted to know about signing day, which, as you just heard, our coverage here on the ticket of early signing day brought to you by our friends at Members Own Credit Union. Learn about their certificate special of a 9-month term for 4.1% APY at membersowncu.org, or stop by their location in Lincoln at 33rd and A or in Beatrice. He wanted to know about Jeremiah Jones, what was going on with that situation. When the day started, we weren't sure if Jeremiah Jones was going to sign. As we got into the morning, sounded like he was going to flip to Missouri and potentially not sign today. But in the end, Jeremiah Jones does end up signing with Nebraska. It does sound like Nebraska, had to make a late push to keep him, right? This is a really intriguing athlete, 6'5", 217-pound player out of the state of Kentucky. Looks like he's going to end up playing defense. Rhule said that, Jeremiah Jones did, get some late interest, some really late pushes from a school like Missouri, and I'm sure plenty others as well. But Nebraska does enough. I don't know if it was NIL related. I don't know if it was just relationship based, whatever it was. But Nebraska did enough to keep Jeremiah Jones in the fold. And I think that's a really exciting get, and more importantly, a really important keep for Nebraska on early signing day today. I'm sure Jay and DP will talk more about signing day as we get into old school. But Stricky, you and I, we got to hit this college football playoff, my man.
Yeah.
We got to hit it.
Got to get on it.
What's the
got to get it.
Where are you at with it right now? Just where's your headspace at with this college football playoff?
Well, what I would say is that the committee was able to escape any controversial issues just by the way that the things was tiered out.
Mm-hmm.
And then what you saw is a huge drop. I think a 6th place drop out of Indiana, by playing a top 5 program on the road and losing big. Okay. But then you saw a minimal drop out of Ohio State by losing at home to a 5-5,
6-5.
They're 6-5.
6-5.
They were 6-5. I thought they were 5-5 at the time.
No, that was the last game of the regular season. They're
Okay, so they're 6-5
to get to 7-5.
6-5.
And you scored 10 points at home.
Right? Okay. But you only drop 4 spots. So you're that in itself speaks to me about the SEC Big Ten bias that we felt was going to be a part of the Big Two, where the money, the moolah, stands, and those individual teams that are incorporated with those conferences are going to get better benefits of the doubt. Outside of Indiana, because a lot of people were not sold on Indiana, but I'm glad that they're still hanging in there. But then you've got to look at now what's going on with Alabama. So my take on it with Alabama is this. I think Alabama is not only getting the benefit of the SEC and Big Ten bias, but you've got to be real about this situation here. They were going back and forth. South Carolina exits himself because they lost both to Ole Miss as well as Alabama. So that's an exit, even though they made great surges and emerging later on to do some things to get themselves in place, right? Okay. Then before them was Miami's,
Miami's pissed today.
Miami's pissed. And the reason that they're pissed is you've got to look at it from this also standpoint. So I'm going to step outside of the bias in the ACC situation. I'm going to step outside of that real quick because Miami's record against top 25 teams is 0-1. And they've squeaked by the hair of their chin a lot of teams in not a great ACC conference.
Sure.
Okay. They've squeaked by. Whereas on the other hand, Alabama, in arguably the top conference in the land, has a 3-1 record against top 25 teams. So I think by way of that, they're able to get away with it. And I'm just going to throw that out there. That helps them in the cause and in the matter of it all. But then they've got to hope for something to happen in this SMU and Clemson game to solidify it all, to make it a lot easier in the decision-making process to allow them to sneak in on the back door. But we'll see.
You are correct, and that is the logic that the College Football Playoff Committee used. It is faulty logic because guess what? Miami beat teams number 26 and number 28, according to the College Football Playoff rankings. Alabama's 3-1 against the current top 25. Miami's 0-1 against the current top 25. Well, guess who's just on the outside of the top 25 looking in? Syracuse, who just beat Miami and doesn't move in, and Duke, who's 9-3. And I'm trying to scroll down. I liked a lot of these. So, yeah. So, Duke lost to Miami on the road, took SMU to overtime and probably should have won that game in Durham, and lost to Georgia Tech with the fourth quarter lead, never once saw the top 25. Syracuse beat UNLV, who's ranked right now, beat Miami just last week and didn't jump in. Syracuse and UNLV are being compared, right? UNLV's 10-2 is better than Syracuse's 9-3, but Alabama's 9-3 is better than Miami's 10-2.
That's where the bias kicks in.
The committee is the one that puts out the top 25 rankings. The current top 25 is voted on by this committee. Maybe there's bias, maybe there's not, but Ward Manuel argued this completely backwards. It is a logic circle for the committee. Just say you want Alabama in.
That part.
Just say you want Alabama in. Say we want the brand. We want the fans. We want the engagement from the South. Just say that. Miami didn't get housed by a 6-16. They didn't lose by 21 to Oklahoma. Yeah, they played it tight. Yeah, it wasn't necessarily pretty. But Miami didn't have a game like that, right? They didn't. Yeah, they lost to Syracuse. That's a 9-win team.
Yeah.
Right now. They just beat them.
Yeah.
Okay? That's a problem right now. The other problem with this, Strick, is that Ward Manuel said teams that are not playing this weekend in conference championship games are locked in.
Wow.
So Ohio State is locked into its position. Could Penn State fall behind Ohio State by losing the Big Ten championship game by not playing an extra game? Does Penn State
So should you sit out?
That's my question for SMU. Because think about this, Strick.
Oh, we're good. We don't want to. Put Colorado in there. They can go.
Think about this. Literally think about this. SMU could go from a first round bye to missing the playoff. BYU could go from a first round bye to being replaced by UNLV, and Boise State playing the freaking Pop-Tarts Bowl. All because they played a conference championship, because they had a better regular season and played a conference championship. Alabama being locked in at number 11, the last at-large spot.
Yeah.
The committee says they're locked in there. So
that's flawed.
If Clemson beats SMU, Clemson replaces SMU instead of replacing Alabama. SMU's resume is better than Alabama's. They won more games. They have enough quality wins to stick around. BYU has a more quality resume than Alabama. BYU was rated higher last year as an independent than they are this year after joining a power conference. What did the committee say? Join a power conference and we'll respect you. We won't. The committee is telling you they want Alabama in the playoff. They're just not being honest about it. That's the frustration.
Gotcha. You got me. Austin, great. Well laid out. I've always felt that it was going to be a bias. And here's the thing. What always usually happens when you get these shifts from the just voting on the champion to the BCS to what was it? What came after the BCS?
It was the college football playoff.
College football.
Yeah.
It wasn't the playoff. It was something else.
It was the 14 playoff.
The 14. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Replace the BCS.
The 14.
Yeah.
And then now what you got? There seems to always be some form of adversity, some form. And I think you want it to happen this early because you want to be able to challenge it. You want to be able to have those discussions. You want to be able to go to those summer committee meetings and really dig into how you need to address these type of situations. Right now, it's looking as if the potential is this lock-in system. Locking in a team that is sitting on their hands when other teams, there should be more advantage to those teams that are playing in these games that barring, like I think if you look at the barring a loss or big loss, so like if you look at the different scenarios, and let me take you just briefly through like these different scenarios. Clemson loses, SMU wins. This is probably the best thing that most people could say happens. But say Clemson wins by 7 to 10 point margin. Then the Tigers would get the ACC automatic bid and potentially move ahead of Arizona State and or Boise State in the final rankings, which would give Clemson the first round bye. Then, so SMU would likely, in that scenario, a close loss, they would cling to the final bid and possibly send Alabama out. Look at Clemson barely winning by like a field goal or an overtime. That would then potentially give the ACC's automatic bid, but it would depend on what's happening elsewhere in the country. And they don't have that first round bye. So they would actually probably have to go on the road to Notre Dame, Tennessee, to Columbus at Ohio State. And then by the effort of SMU, they would then get the last spot, potentially over Bama. So those two scenarios would kick Bama out. But if Clemson blows them out, in that scenario, you're looking at, say the Tigers beat them 49-3, and SMU could then fall all the way out after the season that they had. So those different scenarios could play in, but those are the things that would have to be addressed because I think that wouldn't be wrong because any team on one given day could have an off night. Right. You know, in baseball, a pitcher can come in and he had killed the day all through the season, had a 1.2 ERA, and gets blown up in one game just because he didn't have his stuff that night. And that's not fair.
No.
Anyway.
It's not. Few things here in response to you and then from the text line as well. Right now, the committee says SMU is the number 8 team in the country. The committee judges SMU's current resume at 11-1 as the number 8 team in the country. That's a first round bye. The committee is telling you that right now, SMU has a better resume than Alabama. They've won 2 more games. Travis, to answer your question, SMU's best wins, Louisville, who was number 22 at the time, that was on the road. That's a bowl-eligible team. At Duke, that's a 9-3 win on the road in a game that Duke dominated statistically. But SMU found a way to win. I get it. It's not a traditional football power. But again, we're not playing hypothetical games. We're playing actual games. This year, Duke's 9-3. SMU went on the road. They squeaked out a miraculous win. Pretty neat. They blasted a really good Pittsburgh team at the time, 48-25. They just beat Cal in the regular season finale, 38-6. That's a bowl-eligible Cal team. Yeah, only 6-6. But let's not forget the soft factor of SMU is coming into an ACC conference in year 1, taking it to some traditional powers, and doing it without getting a paycheck from the league. They're in there on their own dime. On the field, SMU's resume is good enough, not just in my eyes, but in the committee's eyes, to be number 8. And I think SMU should have some narrative advantage over Alabama. Bama fan in Lincoln. So if Georgia goes down, does Bama get in no matter who wins SMU Clemson? That's what the committee's telling you. But let's play that out, Strick, right? Let's say that Texas beats Georgia, okay? Georgia is going to drop, but Georgia seems to be safely in the playoff, as we heard all throughout overtime in Georgia and Georgia Tech. But guess what? Alabama beat Georgia. Do you think that win loses some shine for Alabama? It doesn't look as good if Georgia gets smacked in the SEC championship game, right?
Yeah.
But they're not moving Alabama down for it. They have told you, teams that are not playing do not move. Notre Dame staying put. Ohio State, Tennessee, Indiana staying put. Why are we penalizing teams for having a better regular season and playing an extra game? Like you said, like I said, it makes no sense to punish teams for playing in the national, or not the conference championship game. Happened to TCU back in or USC not long ago in the Pac-12 championship. TCU got left out in the Big 12 as well. Old Dad 34. Do you fellas think a 3-loss team from the Big 10 would get in? Not this year, Stricky.
I don't think so. Yeah.
I think it's only Alabama right now. Do you agree?
I don't think they do, and I don't think they should. I don't think they should. You know, for me, again, tricking it off is tricking it off. That means tricking it out of the playoffs. That's the way I look at it. You know, like Ole Miss, I don't want to hear nothing from you. You had many of opportunities and you tricked it off. There's a lot of teams that tricked it off. But at the same time, I don't like the fact that some teams got more penalized than others. I don't think that's right either. You know what I mean? But that's the way they're voting right now. It's the way the committee is committing college football, committee fraud.
Cubsker says Strick's reaction to Bama being in was all of our reaction last night looking at the bracket. It's bull hooky that we're stuck with Bama. And if you have 3 losses, you shouldn't be in, period, unless there's not enough 2-loss teams to fill out the full 12. Strength of schedule and quality losses are not primary indicators.
Shouldn't be.
Who won more games? BYU or Alabama? Who won more games? SMU or Alabama? Who won more games? Miami or Alabama? Alabama's last in that list.
So the old model, that used to be the old model.
Yeah.
You got to go 12-0 or 11-0. You need to go 11-0 in order to even have a sniff of getting into getting a national championship. So when did that shift? When did winning shift? Because back then, a whole bunch of teams at times would schedule a certain amount of games to make sure they bolster their win totals. And then, so then it shifted a little bit, because then you would see a 12-0 UCF, and you would see, these other teams, they would have 1 or 2 quality wins, and that wasn't enough. Then it went to a computer generated. I mean, When did it shift from winning is not enough? That's the question I have.
Two more to get here really quickly before we'll go to break, cross it over with Jay. Travis says, Duke struggled with Northwestern and Louisville just lost to Stanford, who's a 3-win team. Also, Oklahoma is a heck of a 6-6 team. All of their losses are to teams in the top 25. Well, guess what? We're not comparing Alabama and Duke. We're not, right? If we were comparing Alabama and Duke, yes, Alabama has the edge. But SMU won 2 more games than Alabama. That's the problem I have with this. If Alabama was 9-3 and SMU was 9-3, sure, give the edge to Alabama because they might have a more quality win. They do have a more quality win over Georgia, at least right now. Fine. But we're not arguing SMU, Alabama, or we shouldn't be. I think the committee is setting us up to argue about SMU, Alabama, when the committee should have put us in the position to have to argue this in the first place. SMU won 2 more games. You can talk me into an argument for 10-2 Miami versus 9-3 Alabama. I'll disagree with the committee. I think Miami deserves to be in. They won 1 more game. There's enough quality on that resume for me to think Miami should be in over Alabama. But okay, we can have that discussion. But you won 11-1. And that leads us into 2280, who asks, what do you guys truly believe about Indiana being in? I understand the record, but what about the weak schedule? Are they really better than Alabama, Clemson, or Miami and some other fringe teams? What do you think, Stricky?
Well, that's what they're going to assess. They're going to make that assessment to say, how much are we going to weigh a strength of schedule? Because guess what, other teams, if they see that they can operate that way outside of their scheduling in games, they're going to bolster their non-con games, and they're going to bolster those to really prop themselves up. And then they're going to look at their scheduling for in-conference to see, okay, we just got to win this one.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to see teams start to look at that as a model for them.
Mm-hmm.
Look, we're going to look at our upcoming conference schedule. Ooh, we missed Penn State this year. Okay, we miss Penn State. We miss Ohio State. Okay, cool. So then we can schedule a real soft. All we got to do is beat Michigan, or all we got to do is beat, such and such. You know what I'm saying? We just got to beat Oregon, or we got to play Oregon close. As long as we're 11-1, we're good. You're going to start probably seeing that happen, and so it depends on how they address it.
Josh Nielsen says winning is winning, and that's what matters. Who cares how? To an extent, right? The 12-0 teams will get the 1 and 2 seed, maybe the 3. Then we argue about which 11-1 teams get the 3 and the 4 versus the 5 and the 6. And then maybe the 7 and the 8 all the way down to the 9. Then we should be arguing about which 10-2 teams get the 9, 10, 11, 12. And then maybe sneak a one-off weird 9-3 team into the discussion. But come on, winning has to be the prerequisite. I'll say this about Indiana. Stricky, to use a boxing analogy, right? You're not going to get a huge prize fight, a big name on your first fight. You got to start somewhere. Yeah, Indiana's in the Big Ten. That's one of the heavyweights that's driving this discussion right now. Who expected Indiana in the playoff, right? Indiana's that low-level, no-name, no-rank boxer that had to beat up on no-name, poor competition. That's who they are. Guess what? They dominated their schedule this year. Outside of Ohio State, they dominated their schedule. They deserve a shot to prove how legit they are. I'm not going to keep Indiana out because of strength of schedule. They won 11-1. It's hard to deny 11-1. Now's the test for Indiana. And how Indiana performs is going to set the bar for how we judge the next Indiana in years to come.
That part. I don't have to. Yeah, that part. In essence, that's what I've been talking about. That's what I've been saying without, you just said it in a different manner. I've been saying it that way. This is going to be a time for the precedents to be set. Whatever that is, how you're going to judge it, how you're going to weigh it, would have controversy, so controversy can be addressed in those meetings. I think that's part of it.
Let's go to break. Let's have a quick crossover with Jay to wrap up on the block.
You're listening to 93.7 The Ticket's coverage of early National Signing Day, sponsored by Members Own Credit Union on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Follow Austin, Strick, and On the Block on Twitter at Austin Orban, eStrick20, and On the Block 93.7. More of On the Block coming up.
It's $5.99 barbecue time. Hurry to Hog Wild for a complete barbecue meal that's only $5.99. Get a one-meat sandwich loaded with our award-winning barbecue, plus your choice of a classic side and drink for just $5.99. Upgrade your sandwich to beef brisket for just $1 more. Join us for lunch or dinner in Lincoln at 3210 Cornhusker Highway. Order online at GoHogWild.com.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Wellman Plumbing at 402-434-2400 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-434-2400.
League One Volleyball is coming to Omaha this January. Featuring Olympic medalist Jordan Larson and Justine Wong-Arantes, Love Omaha Volleyball is Omaha's newest pro team. The inaugural season will showcase some of the world's best volleyball players, from medalists to NCAA champions and international superstars, with the action kicking off on January 24th at the Liberty First Credit Union Arena. Visit LOVB.com for more information and to purchase tickets. Volleyball is the next major league.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
You're listening to 93.7 The Ticket's coverage of early National Signing Day, sponsored by Members Own Credit Union on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back one final time here during On the Block. Austin Orman, Eric Strickland, joined by Jay Foreman. Jay. Oh, you're on the other one. You're on 5. You're on 5. You're always on 4. You're throwing me.
Y'all was late.
There we go. I would like to take this moment to apologize.
Sorry,
for
man.
absolutely nothing. We're having a good discussion.
Dang.
That part.
Yeah.
That's cold-blooded.
Sorry.
That's all right, though. I accept it.
Really quickly here. Big night in college basketball tonight. One of the best nights in the sport. We got ACC, SEC challenge, as well as the Big East, Big 12 battle. You boys can be locked in on that. Throw this to both of you. Does college football need something similar? Should we set up conference challenges, match teams from these conferences in a regular non-conference game early in the year instead of waiting until bowl season?
That's a great question, Austin. It'd be really, you know what is really funny, because a great philosopher said that's what the ACC and Big 12 needs to catch back up. Do you know who that is?
Is he sitting between Austin Orman and Eric Strickland?
There he is. I think it'd be great, though, for the Big 12 ACC. Obviously, the Big 12 and the SEC is kind of locked powers as, being the, premier conferences. So, the Big 12 coaches and not many ACC coaches have been very vocal about the system and the ranking system, how they haven't been getting their respect. So you have to look at, with Power 4, you got to get in where you fit in with the other one. It'd be great because I think you would, bring some hype, get it more eyes on your brand of football. Obviously, you want to be strategic on who plays who. You don't want blowouts, but you want competitive games. You probably want the brand or the blue blood, in those two conferences and a couple up and comers to win to kind of get that first initial pop into your season. And you could phrase it that we're not afraid of competition. Obviously, if everybody holds serve as far as playing well, it will bode well for later in the year as far as the points and all that. And then also, it would also challenge the SEC in the Big Ten to do somewhat of the same. Even if you did it every other year, let it build up. Then you have some, kind of build some rivalries before you go year to year.
Strick, you rolling?
Yeah, I agree. Don't need to go into depth because I don't want to go too deep into his time. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah, even if you do, I just think that for the Big 12 and the ACC to get where they think they deserve, even though, quite frankly, all the top teams are not the original conference teams, Oregon, Texas, so forth and so on. People don't care. It's where you're at right now. And so they got to figure out a way, especially with the Big 12, the way that they played. I think they probably see other teams play and feel like that they can compete. You never know.
That's just the thing.
Hey, man, when you get out there, listen, man, football is a crazy game because it's changing. I think the 105 settles down a little bit of the NIL. So now if you think you're jumping into the vortex and there's a pot of gold, most likely not. I mean, there will be collectives. It'll be done very strategic. It'll be able to do other things outside of paying players or be able to make, maybe have a pot of money for guys that, let's say, outperform contracts, obviously, and stuff like that. It'd be more of in support of the 105. But at the end of the day, man, these kids, man, I'm telling you, man, the funny thing about it, when everybody sees money and you see this in the NFL or anything like that, you get some snakes coming around. You got to make sure you get good sound advice. But more importantly, the one business that you can control
is your own.
And if you handle that business, everything will work itself out. When you're chasing some business that you haven't handled yet, sometimes you're going to be left out outside looking in, and then you're going to have to make some serious career choices that you might have forced yourself into, for the wrong purposes. Because there's, we'll talk about on old school before we got my man Dr. Finn coming in and talking about some health stuff. But I think that obviously with signing day, had some transition. We got a lot of stuff to talk about for Huskers. Obviously, it's a turning of the page, but we still gotta figure out the written of the last. we gotta get that going. I guess everything's a turn new page. Eventually, I'm sure we'll get a coordinator, name a coordinator, so forth and so on. Got some new guys coming in. Then we got portal coming up. But yeah, man, there's about 3 or 4 ways you get in there, and however you get in there you have to have the background check because now you don't have that extra 30, 40 positions on each team.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of guys doing what we do every Saturday, watching football.
Hey,
that's fact.
Boom. Stricky, good show today, partner.
Yeah, man.
It's fun.
No doubt about it.
What's tomorrow?
Good. Thirsty.
Don't you know it?
Are you going to be in the building?
I'll be in the building.
He's always in the building.
That's
what
a
he
fact.
is.
Yeah,
He's
you
Strick's
even
here.
here when you're not.
You know where I'll be also in the next minute down in cigars.
We're out of here.
Cigars.
Old school DP&J in just a sec.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.